All right, so when you last saw us, we were putting on some rust encapsulator here, and we've pretty much let that dry, and we're ready to move on. So what we did is we went ahead and ground away on our flanges, because we're going to go ahead and install our inner rocker panel and get that taken care of. So I have that part somewhere around here. Ah, here it is. So we've got this part all prepped and ready to go. So as you can see, I've ground down our E-coating on both sides, and I've got our holes punched in it. We are going to need to put some of the weld-through primer on because we're going to have metal sandwiching going on here. So we'll put that on the back side that attaches in. But I just want to talk a little bit about fitment here. So you have this little lip right here, and you definitely would remember that from when you took it apart, but you might not remember it until you go to put this on, which is kind of what happened to me. I've already welded a lot of the edge here, so there's not a lot of give in this piece right here, but we're still in good shape. Same thing with this piece right here. You don't want to weld the door jamb to the sill piece because you've got the inner rocker that has to go in there. So this will basically fit in like this, and it'll butt up here. And as you can see, I didn't drill any holes in this piece right here, but I did punch some holes in this flange. The whole idea is, remember in the sill, there was kind of an access hole right here. Those welds are going to have to be from the inside, and they'll actually go on this side and then weld this flange to the back of this piece. The rest of it is pretty simple and straightforward. The only thing I did here was about an inch right here. I did not punch a hole. What I'll probably end up doing here is back drilling a section of here and kind of come from the inside as well. The main reason is, once again, the door jamb piece. So the flange here, these 3 spot welds, and then I'm going to put one here that'll drill from out here. Those will be spot welds from inside the car going out. The rest of them will just be along the face here. One of the areas, another piece, this edge right here, I didn't punch any holes. We're going to drill, because I might be able to get my punch tool on those, but if not, I'm just going to go ahead and drill 3 holes, and then I'll do 3 spot welds here, but it'll go from this side in through this piece. Otherwise, it's a pretty easy fit. Now, the only thing that I was mentioning was, if you've already welded all this in, you're not going to have a lot of play to bend this up. That just means that what you're going to need to do is fit this side. And we already did this once for mock-up. You're going to go ahead and get this side fit in the way you like it. And then you're going to have to bend the piece enough to pop it in. And then you're going to want to line everything up, clamp it down, get it straight, and go ahead and get your welds done, and everything will look just fine. So what we're going to go ahead and do is try not to bend this too much, but I think we're about done with our test fitting. So I'm going to go ahead and get some weld-through primer on our surfaces that we need to, and then we're going to go ahead and get this attached, get it clamped down with some locking pliers, and get a few tacks in and get the weld started. Now, I'm not going to use Clecos here. I don't really feel that I need them. This is such a simple, straight piece. I really just need to clamp it to the flanges and get the weld started, and they should be good. Another point, I'm going to go really slow with these welds. I'm going to start with tacks, and then I'm going to give it a lot of time to cool, or use some air to cool it down. One of the big reasons is I've got all this rust encapsulator on here. I don't want to overheat it and burn this stuff off. I know in the can, it says it's good to like 350 degrees. Obviously, right close to where we're welding, it's probably going to surpass that temporarily. But I don't want to be burning the stuff off and inhaling whatever fumes it gives off when I do. So we're going to go pretty slow with the tacks. As I said, I ground off everything that I need to, and I'll put the weld-through primer on. But then I've got this really good rust preventative coating everywhere else. So again, trying to get as much of this on as I can in areas that are going to be covered up when I put this in. So, can you see me? I'm going to work the drill. All right, that's the hole we need. So for the time being, I'm just going to put my weld-through primer on this surface and the back surface of the piece. That way, I'm only coating as much as I need to, and I'm just going to do a little bit of a skim coat on it. So as I lock this panel down, I'm really wanting to check the top flange and get that lined up the way that I like it. If the bottom flange is a little bit too long or whatnot, I'm a little less worried there because this is your bottom pinch weld, but this is going to be part of where your door seal goes and is part of that upper pinch weld. So I want to try to line that up as good as possible. And of course I can check back here, everything looks nice. Yeah, not as perfect as I would have liked. So I was kind of going off this as a reference line here, but don't forget I replaced a little bit of that. Not that I did a bad job replacing it, but it does go to show you. I'm not sure that this particular angle line here is designed to be a fitment gauge, I guess you could say. So basically, I just want to come up ever so slightly here. Probably a little too much. Okay, I think that's pretty good. Let me lock this in place. Let me go around and check. That's pretty uniform. And this still looks good. This is lined up good. Now the other thing I'll say is this line is a little bit higher than the sill. But what I can do is after I get everything sandwiched together, if for some reason this is I'm talking like a 0.5 millimeter. It's very, very small. And I can even look down there. It looks like the sill sits lower. In fact, see, this is what's great about having the other side in the OEM. I can see right across there. I know you can't see with the camera, but the amount of gap there is in the inner rocker, or at least outer rocker, whatever I see there, is about the same distance that I just dialed in right here. So I'm real happy with the fit now. And like I said, if I want to make it perfect for the door seals, I can always shave off that 0.5 millimeter. I got a little extra material to work with here. But this is good because it gets my spot weld holes lined up. I'm going to go ahead and lock this down because I am happy with it. All right, that should be good for now to get a couple tacks in. We're going to start right in the center and we'll kind of work our way out. And the whole idea there is that I've got just a tiny bit of play here if I need it, and I've got a little bit of play here if I need it. So I'll get the center done. I don't think I will. I've got this clamp pretty good, but still, that's going to give me what I need to expand outward. So far, zero issues with odor or smoke or vapors coming off of the rust encapsulator. Again, I'm going to take time. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tacks. I'm going to let this piece cool off nice and then continue on. That way I don't overheat it. I actually noticed more burning with e-coating yesterday than I've noticed so far with the rust encapsulator. But again, I've only put 6 tacks in. So, well, they're spot welds, but they're tacks. You know what I mean. All right, we'll let this cool off. And I'll try to keep the cameras running for things, but when I go to editing, you know, it'll make a really long video. I don't always show everything, so there are some cases where I might just come in here and weld and weld and weld, and you'll come back when it's all done and I'll show you, because it becomes repetitive. The process is the same, the technique is the same. It's just watching it go over and over again. So we'll move forward and do that. There's really nothing special here. This is all just going to be a bunch of spot welds to have this piece on, and then it's going to be grinding things down smooth to prepare us for that external piece. The other thing I need to work on is I went ahead and cut away the piece up there, and I need to go ahead and figure out how the new piece fits, because I noticed this flange piece adds a little bit of a dynamic that I wasn't expecting. So I'll show you that on the camera before we do too much else. Let me move these while they're running. All right, so I'm chasing camera time. I got 2 minutes left on the card. All right, so this is that piece I was telling you about, and I'm going to show you a little bit about how it fits, and then we're going to have to kind of figure out how to make it work. So it turns out I had bought these filler pieces. The other ones were a little bit weak feeling. So hey, since I picked them up, I'm going to put them on. Now what you're going to see here with this camera is this flange right here. I'm not sure how this is interfering, and I might just need to hammer it in a little bit and do some body work, but this is supposed to sit like this. And it doesn't sit internally from what I can tell, because this flange right here looks like it would actually weld to the piece here. That's why I had to cut away some welds here. So I need to figure out how this flange piece, which appears to be this front panel in this inner structure, it's how that welds together, how this is kind of in the way. And it might just be hammer and dolly to move this inward. It actually was pushed pretty far in, and I figured it had to be out, so I hammered it out. So I'm going to hammer that back in, and then I'm going to work on fitting this piece, and then it looks like I can punch holes here and spot weld it to this right here. And this is the front panel that goes where our outer rocker goes. So I need to have this fit before I move forward with the outer rocker. So I basically need to have this piece fit before I move forward with our outer rocker. Now I like to close out the videos and close out the day with kind of what the next step's going to be, so I can get excited about it. And as you can see, I've got our outer rocker just literally just sitting in here, so it's not really mocked up yet, but it's just sitting on it, because that's pretty much the next step that we have. And that's awesome. We're getting really far along with this side. So it's cool to see that just sitting here, that you know, from nothing, or actually from rusty stuff, cutting it away to nothing, we're now just about done building this back out. All right, so we're going to go ahead and wrap up for the day. Now remember, on Instagram @Vortex Garage, you're going to see the latest updates posted as we're working. We're a little bit slower to get things up here on YouTube, but we will continue to keep you updated on this project. So as we go, definitely keep checking it out. If you like it, subscribe, and we'll keep you updated as we move along here on Vortex Garage.